is Holly Butler, and I'm the Entrepreneurial Initiatives Project Director. Tonight, we're here to celebrate the Rist DifferenceMaker Institute and the accomplishments of our past and current DifferenceMaker teams. We're also here to thank all of you for your ongoing support of DifferenceMaker. So DifferenceMaker engages students across campus in creative problem solving, innovation, and entrepreneurship. We also help our students pursue ideas that they are passionate about. So before I get started, I just wanted to recognize our DifferenceMaker faculty fellows and emeriti. Will the following individuals please stand up? Professor Michael Siuchta, Deborah Finch, Ralph Jordan, and David Badalero from the Manning School of Business. And Brent Schell from the Zuckerberg College of Health Sciences. Kathy Levy and Neil Shortland from Fine Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. Hunter Mack from the Francis College of Engineering. And Tom Wilkes from the Kennedy College of Sciences. Thank you all for your support. I would also like to thank our DifferenceMaker team for their hard work and commitment. Steve Tello, the Vice Provost for Graduate, Professional, and Online Studies. Ha Fo, Entrepreneurial Initiatives Project Manager. Jackie Buckley, the Senior Assistant to Steve. And our awesome co-op students, Adam, Yeharn, Victor, and Lena. Recognize our extraordinary corporate sponsors, Circle Health, Comcast Xfinity, Digital Federal Credit Union, Enterprise Bank, and Foley & Lardner LLP. Your support has been instrumental to the growth and the success of DifferenceMaker. Please join me in thanking all of our partners. Additionally, I would like to thank all of our alumni sponsors. Your funds continue to help support our DifferenceMaker co-op students, prize funding, as well as other student venture activities. So thank you all very much. I also wanted to take a moment to recognize Provost Joe Hartman for your ongoing support of DifferenceMaker. So thank you, Joe. Many deans are here with us this evening, so I'd like to thank you all. Dean Sandy Richtemeyer from the Manning School of Business. Dean Shorty McKinney from the Zuckerberg College of Health Sciences. And Interim Dean Jim Sherwood from the Francis College of Engineering. I would also like to thank everyone else in the audience from community friends and mentors, alumni, vice chancellors, executive cabinet, and directors for all of your help and your support of DifferenceMaker and taking our student teams to new heights. So I had mentioned earlier that we're here to celebrate the establishment of the Rist DifferenceMaker Institute, and it gives me great pleasure to sincerely thank Brian and Kim Rist for their generous donation to make this institute possible, so thank you so much. We have a lot of different activities planned through the Rist DifferenceMaker Institute that will help bring our entrepreneurial student teams to the next level. So some of these activities include the Rist DifferenceMaker Graduate Fellowship, student team participation in regional and national competitions, the naming of the Rist Campus-Wide DifferenceMaker Award, which Team Benji Ball actually won the first one this past Spring Idea Challenge, and funding the Rist DifferenceMaker co-op students. So before closing, I just wanted to share some of the impact that our collective work has had on our UMass Lowell students. We've engaged over 3,000 students each year in workshops, pitch competitions, and other events on campus and in the broader community. 33 of our teams have actually incorporated into legal business entities. And those teams have gone on to actually raise an additional $3 million in funding. And many of our teams have submitted patents as well as received patents, and they've done more, so much more, and you'll hear from some of those teams later on this evening. So now, it is my pleasure to introduce our biggest champion, someone who actually envisioned DifferenceMaker just 8 years ago. Chancellor Jackie Maloney is an ardent supporter of the program, and she helped kick it off in 2012 and ensured that it had a cross-campus, interdisciplinary, and collaborative focus. So the success of DifferenceMaker is due in large part to her vision and her commitment. So please join me in welcoming Chancellor Jackie.
Thank you, Holly, and what a great job she did. And it's like what we do every day. I was talking to Holly earlier, and she mentioned the first time I met her. She was a student, a graduate student in Steve Tallow's class. And both of us, I think, saw this brilliant woman who we knew was going to do great things. We hoped that she would do great things for us here at UMass Lowell. And look at what she has done with this DifferenceMaker program. Let's hear it for Holly. Steve Tallow, thank you for being a co-founder in this DifferenceMaker program and everything that you did to take this idea and turn it into what we will celebrate tonight. You're an amazing partner. Thank you for everything you do. So think about this evening, what a great night. I hope you're all enjoying this beautiful fall weather, especially our friends who have traveled here from, well, that would be Texas, Ray, Florida, Jack from, yeah, thank you all for being here, John, JFK, making the trip. Thank you all for doing that and being with us. And this is what we love so much about homecoming. And it's so special to kick off homecoming with DifferenceMakers. And we do this for a reason. Why is that? Because we feel that DifferenceMakers really exemplifies what we are about as a university today. When we envisioned DifferenceMakers just 7 years ago, we thought a lot about what our mission here is at this university. And of course at this university for, oh, that would be 125 years now. Did you know it's our 125th anniversary? How about that? For 125 years, we have been fulfilling the American dream, and we have done that by enabling people to fulfill their dream, by enabling them to improve themselves, and in doing so, improve their families and their communities. That's what this university has been about. And we've done that by enabling these wonderful generations of people to go make a difference in their community, to find solutions. So in finding DifferenceMakers, though, we feel we took that to the next level, because we knew as a university that we had evolved. And for us at this university, and I look at the people in this room, and I know you share what I feel, and that is our commitment to being part of something that is bigger than who we are as individuals. That's who you are. That's who our faculty and staff are. These great deans, these administrators that Holly just introduced. Thank you to all of our faculty who are here. You're amazing. To all the staff, to the leadership team here, you're amazing. They know that they are part of something much bigger than who they are, and they are making a difference every day at this university. Please join me in thanking all of them. It's true of all of you as alumni and judges, and I'm so delighted that tonight we have with us a very special trustee to our Board of Trustees in UMass, Mary Burns, right here. And she believes she is a strong proponent, as all of you are, as alums who have traveled, all of you who have been here to commit to this project, to something, Lorna, thank you for everything you do, to something that's bigger than all of us. And it's our students. That's why they came to UMass Lowell. They came here because we promised them something. We told them they could be part of something bigger than who they are. We told them that we would enable them to find a way to make the world a better place. And when we thought about difference makers in the beginning, it was a pretty bold idea, and we weren't sure where it would go. Fast forward to today. Teams, you look at these great accomplishments that Holly just pointed out. Teams that inspire us every year with their ideas. Some of them extraordinarily successful. Some of them, like Holly said, or someone said earlier, I think it was Brian talking to our team, it was Brian, talking to our team when he said, guess what? Your first idea, it might be a great idea, and it might go nowhere, but that's okay. Keep working on it. And it happened for a reason, and you'll learn something from that idea and from that project, and you'll take it to the next project, and you're not sure where it will take you. I still remember John Policino, who will be on campus this weekend, who we named the building across the street for, and he said to our students one day, you know, you hear all the time, pursue your passion, pursue your passion, pursue your passion, do what you love. And he said, you know, if I had done that, I'd be out on the street. I love art myself. I keep trying. Tonight I'll go home and I'll pull out my watercolors and I'll try. I'm just not an artist. But what he said is pursue what you're good at. And guess what? You might find out that that's your passion. I thought it was just such a great advice, and I think it rings true for us here. When you start to listen to what these students have found in their difference maker projects, again, they are pursuing their dreams and they are making a difference in the world. They're doing that because of all of you who are here to support them. Our faculty, our staff, our alumni, you have been so generous. Thank you, both in your time and your treasure. And we are committed to taking this generation, and I know when you hear from these teams tonight, you will be equally as inspired and humbled as we are every day when we get to work with them and help them to take them to the next level. It is now my pleasure, of course, to introduce Brian Rist, a graduate of the Manning School of Business from, should I tell them the year, Brian? I'm with you on that. We know that Brian is the founder and CEO of Storm Smart Industries, which he founded after the devastating damage of Hurricane Andrew, and he looked at what was happening in homes and in his community, and he developed this unbelievable company that helps people to respond and protect their homes. In doing so, though, and this is what I love about Brian, I visited him at his shop and within his community. This man is so highly regarded, not just for the work that he has done as an entrepreneur and the fact that he's a successful entrepreneur, but it's because he gives back. And he believes so much in giving back to his community. And I'm sure he'll mention that tonight. He and Kim, in my opinion, exemplify what we mean at UMass Lowell about being difference makers and being part of something that is bigger than ourselves. Please welcome Brian.
You know, I said earlier earlier tonight, it just seems like I always fall on the chance up to these conversations, and I don't know how fair that really is. But I do want to thank you all tonight for the opportunity to speak here today. It certainly is a tremendous honor. I will tell you that if you took a poll of the deans who were at Lowell during my years of school when I was a student, asking them the odds of me coming back here years later and delivering keynote speech, the over and under would be way under. But despite those early odds, I can honestly say, standing here in front of you, I'm one of the luckiest people you'll ever meet. I have an amazing wife. I live in a beautiful house near the water in Southwest Florida, where cold weather is like considered 60 degrees. This week, the weather here isn't so bad right now, but fast forward a couple of months, and you'll understand why they call where I live paradise. While I have the privilege of residing in paradise, I'm also afforded an opportunity to travel a great deal and meet some of the most successful and brightest minds in the business world today. In fact, last week I was in Phoenix, where our company received an award from Inc. magazine for being one of the fastest growing companies in the United States. Making this distinction even more significant was this was the 5th time we received this award. Now, I tell you these things not to brag or boast, but to share my admiration and appreciation for this university, and like you, the time I spent here as a student. I wholeheartedly believe none of the amazing things that happened in my life would have even been possible if not for the education I received here at Lowell. The lessons I learned here laid the foundation for the many great things which were to come, for which I can never say thank you enough to the school for all the things it has done for me and how it's changed my life. But if I may tonight, I'd like to share a few lessons I've learned and a few of the thoughts which I believe played a huge part in getting me to where I am today. There's this saying, be careful what you dream of, it may come true. I'm sure you all heard of the saying, be careful what you wish for, I'll do you one better. Be careful what you dream for, it too may come true. I'm a perfect example of this. Through perseverance, hard work, determination, and learning the hard way, I've been able to lead a life which allows me to go where I want to go, see what I want to see, and do what I want to do. The key to making this dream a reality is the effort you put in making it come true. It's not an easy road to travel. It's a road filled with ups and downs, successes, failures, trials, tribulations. However, take it from someone who has traveled the road, if you put in the hard work and you never quit, it's a journey where dreams are made and lived to the fullest. Over 20 years ago, when we first started our company, like most startups, we were undercapitalized. We didn't have a lot of money for marketing or the experience to know what we really wanted to do. We really didn't have a business plan. We just knew there had to be a better way to protect homes from hurricanes. And we were confident we could provide a better alternative. In those early years, I'll be the first to admit we struggled. Money was a huge problem for us. There were many times when things looked extremely bleak. I wasn't sure if we were going to make it. We were living day to day and barely hanging on, not knowing what tomorrow would bring or if there would even be a tomorrow. It was during that time I met a gentleman who later became an important mentor to me. He related to me a very simple and powerful saying. He said, Brian, businesses don't fail, people quit. Those simple words immediately sunk in. I took the saying to heart, and for me it meant if I got up every morning, swung the bat, kept working at it, and kept persevering, as long as I didn't quit, our business would never fail, which is precisely what happened. We succeeded beyond levels I ever thought possible. So when you're experiencing dark days of your own, and you will, remember those few words. Businesses don't fail, people quit, and keep on going. Over the years, we've been very fortunate, and we've experienced considerable growth, sometimes at an extremely rapid rate. As an example, in 2018, we grew our 24-year-old company by over 87%. You would think spectacular growth is what you want for your company, and to be quite honest, you do. However, it comes with a share of challenges. You learn the reality is more companies die of indigestion than starvation, or rather fail from rapid growth than the lack of growth. Through the chaos of rapid growth, it's easy to lose sight of the basics and the reason why you're a business and what makes your business special. Concentrate your efforts more on planning and smart growth rather than just uncontrolled expansion. Nothing creates more chaos than rapid growth. Nothing challenges a company's culture more than rapid growth. If you don't temper it with smart growth, things can and probably will go south very quickly. Another wise saying which changed things for me was, fail to plan, plan to fail. It's undoubtedly true when you're protecting your family and property from the event of a storm. It's also true in the storm of life. If you don't plan, failure will likely be your destiny. There's no way my company could go in the direction we want to go in if I don't know what direction I want it to go in. It starts with me, the leader of the company, and you when you move on to lead your company. Define the plan you expect your company to follow, then make your plan known throughout your team. Have the discussions, tweak the plan based on their input, then make sure everyone is on the same page and moving in the same direction. You must constantly review your plan and how well it's moving towards yours and your company's goals. At our company, we spend a great deal of time throughout the year reviewing our plan and deciding what direction we want to go in. It's an ongoing process, with the plan being the basis of our strategies, our tactics, our discussions, and the very way we run our business. I recently reread a classic book by Jim Collins called Good to Great. In the book, he teaches the key to successful rapid growth is making sure you have the right people and the right seats on the right bus going the right direction. If you do this, you can move mountains. Just growing for the sake of growing is probably going to cause more harm than good. You need to build your business with a strategically sound plan. But always remember, fail to plan, plan to fail. If your core business is, and your core goal in starting your business is to make a lot of money, it probably won't be sustainable. It probably won't have a long life. There must be a higher purpose behind your business. When thinking about starting your own business, make the priority about solving a problem, filling a need, making people's lives better, making the world better. When we started our company, we had a mission of making Florida a safer place in the event of a hurricane. Everything we did, the products we created, the processes we put in place, everything focused on our mission. Today, it remains our top priority. Every employee's job, from top to bottom in our company, is to match towards that goal. From the moment they start in the morning until they leave every night. By keeping the focus intact, the money followed. But if we would have been focused more on the revenue, I guarantee you I would not be here standing up and speaking to you tonight. If you take care of your employees will take care of your business, and your customers will take care of you. At the same time, you're focused on filling a need with your products and service. Keep in mind how you're going to deliver those products and services to your customers, and the process you're going to use to deliver the customer's perspective. You can have the most exceptional product or service in the world, you can have the best intentions at heart, but if you lack quality customer service, it'll all be for nothing. At the end of the day, it's all about customer experience. Profit is a byproduct of great customer service. It's so very important that you remember those words. Profit is a byproduct of great customer service. Going back to what I said a few minutes ago, we started our business defining a need. People needed to protect their homes, save energy, add living space. We created a product and a process which filled those roles. Just as important, we delivered it with great customer service. I'm very proud of the fact that 62% of the business we do every day is because we install our products on someone's mother, brother, sister, or cousin's home. It is such an important way to grow a business. You want your business to be sustainable. You cannot afford to buy new leads every day. You must grow organically by taking care of your customers, and then your business will grow. There's a saying, take care of your customers will take care of you, which worked very well when we started building our business. However, as our business grew, we expanded that to, if you take care of your employees will take care of your customers, and your customers will take care of you. Nothing is more crucial in running a business than creating the highest level of customer experience for those who choose to do business with your company. If you accomplish that high level of customer experience, along with providing quality products and service, you'll substantially increase the odds of your business will succeed. You need to continue to invest in yourself. As you sit here tonight with your graduation on the horizon, it's important to remember learning doesn't end with a degree. Learning is a lifelong commitment. The faster you can learn, the faster you can earn. Be a sponge. Absorb every bit of knowledge you possibly can. Always remember, readers are leaders. Gather your education from every source of person you can. It's incredible the things you'll learn from the most unexpected people, places, and things. I read books all the time. I listen to audiobooks every day. I'm still a student at UML, so I can learn more, so I can be a better leader. I hope to graduate with my master's degree in May. I can tell you, I'm not going to get a pay raise because I have a master's degree. I continue my education because I believe by doing so, I become a better person, a better leader, and a better teacher. I have learned the life you live is the lessons you teach. You need to hire the right people, feed them the right food to make them greater. While continuing your education will make you a better leader, it's also important to remember you can't do it all yourself. You have to hire and surround yourself with the right people. It's not an easy or quick task, but one which requires you to deal a great deal of your time and effort. Employees just don't become great because you hire them. This is only the beginning. The proper training, cultivating your culture, continuing their education is just as important, if not more, than hiring the right person for any job. It's essential as the owner of your company, you can create an environment of always learning. Hire the right people, feed them the right food, and make them greater. Once you've done this, you must learn to trust your team and the jobs you did and do to instill in them the type of company you want to create and grow. Then give them the room and trust to continue and spread your mission. I'm here tonight, roughly 1,500 miles away from my company, because I know I can trust our team to handle our business while I'm gone. It goes full circle to what I said in the beginning. I am blessed to lead a life which allows me to go where I want to go, see what I want to see, and do what I want to do. A significant part is trusting our employees enough to leave them to run the company in my absence. In conclusion, and speaking of full circles, I want to thank you all for allowing me to come back to Lowell some 40 years after I was first a student here. I can assure you this is a crowning achievement in my life and one I'll always cherish. I wish you all nothing but success as you begin your adventure, and I hope each of you have the opportunity years from now to address future students of UML and impart with what you have learned from your long and successful career to the others in the future. Thank you. I'm Brian Rist, President of Stormswarm.
Thank you, Chancellor Maloney and Brian Rist, for your very thoughtful words, and Brian for all of your tips regarding business. Now you'll all have a chance to hear business updates from current and past DifferenceMaker teams. It is my pleasure to now introduce my colleague, Entrepreneurial Initiatives Project Manager, Hafo.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rafael, I'm the program managers. As the program managers at DifferenceMaker, I am delighted to introduce some of our success stories that emerged through DifferenceMaker. These are the current, past DifferenceMaker winners who are now companies and nonprofits organizations. These 6 teams will share their success and developmental updates with you in 3 minutes. Yes, at DifferenceMaker, we love idea pitches. Then we will have 5 minutes of question and answer after each presentation. Pitch will be in order from the year they won the idea challenge. So first, presentation from NonSpec. NonSpec is a US company reside at the UMass Lowell Innovation Hub. NonSpec provides affordable and adjustable prosthetic limbs to amputees. Currently, the prosthetics are sold through clinics in Asia, Africa, and America. NonSpec was the 2013 Idea Challenge Campus-wide DifferenceMaker winner. In 2013, the 2 co-founders, Jonathan DeAdoretti and Aaron Kinney, was a senior in plastic and mechanical engineer. They started working on their idea in their capstone courses and brought those ideas to DifferenceMaker. Please welcome John and Aaron to the stage.
Thank you so much. Hello everyone, my name is Jonathan DeAdoretti.
I'm Erin King.
And we're co-founders of NonSpec. We make affordable and adjustable prosthetic limb kits, which we sell to clinics all over the world. We do this because the clinics that we work with don't have the time or the resources to develop the patients that they have, and we believe that every amputee deserves a chance to walk again.
There's 54 million amputees worldwide, and the majority of them don't have access to a trained clinician who can fit them with a prosthetic. If they do have that access, it takes an average of 2 years before they can get a limb, and almost 12 visits before they get something that's comfortable so they can just live their day-to-day lives. We changed this by offering an off-the-shelf kit that can be rapidly adjusted in under an hour by someone who's minimally trained. This means that we can get somebody home and active again and actually make adjustments at home because it's so easy so that they can continue being comfortable.
Right now, we have devices deployed in Rwanda, the Philippines, India. We recently just deployed in Mauritius and Nairobi. We have devices in the UK, in the US, and it's all thanks to you guys, helping us get to those phases and learning about the things that we've had to do to get there. We actually have raised over $1.5 million, and our international groups have actually become self-sustaining as of 2 weeks ago, which means that we can... And actually, I remember we came up to you guys at one point in time, and I think right after we pitched, we said we think in Africa, when we go to that region, we'll have an 80% conversion rate. And I'm happy to say in Rwanda, it's actually been 110 because clinics that we haven't talked to have come to us. So it's been a spectacular, spectacular time.
So we were asked to talk about some of the challenges that we went through as a company, and I think UMass Lowell and DifferenceMaker has been a huge supporter of us as we went through these challenges. So for those of you who know us in the room, you probably have seen us go through some of these. One, we started with hands, and now we're promoting legs mostly. So we did a lot of pivoting early on in our first year, and since we now have a production facility that we use in the Innovation Hub, so we actually produce all of our components in-house in Lowell, which is an amazing thing that we get to do because we're bringing together our education from UMass Lowell with that manufacturing power that we have in Lowell, so it's really great. And through the challenges that it took from from being a student to being a full-fledged company, we had a team of 8 students who started with us when we were seniors. That dwindled to 3 that are still with us from UMass Lowell, and then the exchange program allowed us to go to India and actually create a team there. So that was an amazing challenge that helped us overcome. And now we're actually raising another round for our second product that will allow us to deploy a device that will allow for amputees to be fit in rural regions where there's no one that is trained. Thank you very much.
the fact that you're addressing a remarkable need, but in, let us say, more distressed areas, what has been your perception from the venture capital or private equity market for you?
It's a serious issue. When you work in this field, one of the biggest challenges we have is that as a company, we have a several billion-dollar market cap if we're looking at just the US and the UK. That being said, operating in those regions isn't what we really care about as much. People in those regions have access to excellent healthcare. And so we are choosing right now to work in regions where people can use these devices and it will make a huge difference in their lifestyle. That being said, our newest product actually is geared towards global deployment. And so not only will we be able to fit someone in a rural clinic, I'll be able to go to Mass General and hand them a device that replaces a huge chunk of what the clinician does during the day. So that still has access to those regions. And that's actually why we waited so long to raise funds, because we wanted to prove that we could be sustainable in these places where people quite literally, blatantly, just stared directly into my face and said, you will never be successful in these places. You have to figure this out, or it's not going to work. Just come back to the US. And I'm happy to say that we figured that out. It took a long time, and we were really pushed for that.
One more question?
How many devices do you actually have out there?
So we formally started deploying a few months ago, so we have several hundred devices out right now. At a glance, to be honest, 250 in India, and then more floating around depending on which region you're in. So in Rwanda, we actually went out and made sure that every single clinic had at least one device, and then a demo device that they could have on the wall for the patient to be like, yes, that's the one I want. Sorry, that's an easy one.
Was there a moment where you almost gave up? And how did you get through it?
There's quite a few moments, but I think the best one was on our first trip to India, where we got to fit the first amputee with our limb. We had done a lot of testing digitally, and a lot of work went into designing this limb. And we're like, okay, here it is, it's all put together, the person's gonna stand up on it now. So he stood up and then collapsed. And I think all of our hearts skipped a beat, at least one. And we all rushed to him. He had a chair behind him. He was able to sit down. He was fine. And then we started looking closer at it, and we realized that it was actually the socket that had collapsed, the piece that was customized by the clinician. And our device actually caught him. So we tested something that we had planned for, but never thought we'd need to witness. But it was that moment where we were like, oh goodness, everything we did was wrong. Like, clearly this is not what we're supposed to do. And we had to work with, basically we discovered that there's more that we need to do in those clinics. So that actually was the motivation behind our second product that will help make that never be a problem again.
One more question for the team?
So, well, I will throw myself under the bus there. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I like to joke, but it's very true. There's a little part of every mechanical engineer's brain that's dedicated to wanting to turn people into robots. And that's probably how I started. So, actually, we really were not focused on prosthetics quite as much as we were focused on like bioelectric systems. But when we went to market, no one wanted it. And that's actually another moment where we were like, all right, I guess we'll quit, but thanks. I actually remember we met a hand surgeon in Boston, and we had brought him our prototype, and we were super stoked because he's like, I will literally meet you for the 15-minute window between surgeries I have. We will have coffee at this table, meet me here. And we showed up, and he literally told us our idea was completely useless. And it was like, just flat out, like, I don't see a need for this. There's no purpose, no one needs a hand. And we started shopping around and asked people, and they're like, no, this isn't important. And actually, it was a clinic in South America that reached out to us and said, hey, you've got this adjustable portion. Can you focus on that? Can you make a leg? Can you do that? And I'll be honest with you, we didn't know. I would love to be like, yeah, absolutely. I told him yes, but we weren't sure of that at the time. And we did. And honestly, what happened was that we started working with these patients, and we started hearing their stories and having them come to us. Some of our first patients, the things that they went through were absolutely amazing. And so one of our first patients was a nurse. I love talking about her because she still sends us messages saying, hey, I went to the store today. Hey, I walked my daughter to her first day of school. Hey, I got to ride a bike. And for everyday normal people, that's like such a trivial thing, but it's so amazing how giving someone a device like this just completely gives them back their life.
One last question, please. One more question? Oh, you have questions? You still have questions? Okay.
Touched on something that I think is extremely wonderful about DifferenceMaker, and that's the cross-disciplinary opportunities that I would love to see even more happen. So I'm the Dean of Health Sciences. And so your product I've loved from the very beginning, but I'm really curious about what are you doing to extend this understanding to health professionals, not physicians, not necessarily physicians. Sometimes they have a different perspective. And what are you doing to partner more with health professionals around the world to help them understand how they have a part in your product?
We actually go to their environment and we sit and we work with them and the amputees directly to make sure that what we're doing integrates really well within what they already know and have. We are also trying to simplify the whole process, so we have YouTube videos that show how to adjust our device and also how to fit sockets and do all the other work in the clinic so that it can start being deployed in regions where there's people who are less trained. In terms of our learning, we continued our degrees at UMass Lowell, so we both went on to our masters and PhDs, and John transferred from engineering to business back to engineering, so we had a little bit of mix of everything on the business end, so that we could really strengthen our product and our company. And that fundraising round that we're looking for will really help us build out our team so that we're even more multidisciplinary and can fit better into the environments that we can help our customers.
Next presentations, Prevention's Possible. Prevention Possible is a non-profit organization with a mission of using creative mediums and personal experience to raise awareness and prevent drunk driving amongst youth. Its founder, Matthew, graduated from UMass Lowell in 2015 in Fine Arts, Humanities, and Social Science. He developed his idea from his own tragic experience. He pitched and won the Honorable Mention Prize at 2014 DifferenceMaker Idea Challenge. Please welcome Matt.
How are you? So basically, it was kind of already explained to you, but I started a nonprofit organization to raise awareness about the dangers of drinking and driving. The idea was a unique idea because I'm sure a lot of you have seen presentations in high schools, and when I went to those presentations when I was in high school, I didn't want to be there. I didn't care about it. I didn't listen. And unfortunately, I probably should have listened because I made the mistake of drinking and driving when I was in high school, got in a car crash, and I lost my best friend. So I had to do these speeches for community service. I went out and I did the speeches, and I thought I was kind of effective, not really. I had to do it for a certain way based on how the school wanted it, based on how my probation officer wanted it. And when I was done with that, I was done with doing the speeches. One day, the difference makers came in my classroom, and I had an idea to do these speeches in a way that I'm not going to go and tell you what not to do. I'm not going to go and tell you it's wrong to drink. I'm not going to tell these high school kids what they shouldn't do because why would they listen to me? All I was going to do was go tell my story. And basically, I had no business experience at all. I had nothing in my past. I was undecided, undeclared major. I walked into Difference Maker's Idea Challenge pitch, and I walked in, I was wearing clothes that I was wearing when I was in class that day, and I walked into a room that looked exactly like this. Everyone's in suits and ties, in teams. I walked in by myself, and I did my pitch. I got up there and I told them what I wanted to do. I showed them a video of my speeches. Miraculously, they accepted me and let me in to do another pitch. And from there, once we got the honorable mention, we got a certain amount of money, we put together a DVD and these brochures and sent them out to over 500 schools throughout New England. Those schools got emails, they got this brochure, they got the video, and we moved on from there. We did speeches. The next semester at UMass Lowell, which was my final semester in 2015, I worked on an independent study class. And like I said, I had no business experience. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to make a nonprofit organization. I just had a stupid idea that I walked into the Difference Makers. Luckily for me, Difference Makers hooked me up with a professor, Professor Bazin. I don't believe she goes by that right now, but she helped me out as an independent study, and I was able to file a 501c3, get it accepted, which I was told was very tough to do. You screw up one part of it, they send it back. So I sat with her for hours just trying to fill it out correctly, do it right, and we were able to do that. So from there, now we can go to these schools and say, hey, we're a nonprofit, we're legit. I'm not just some random kid showing up like I did when I was on probation. And so like the group before me said, we were asked to talk about our challenges. I've kind of already touched upon it, a business plan. I had no business plan. My business plan was, I have a story, I want to show my story, I want to present myself. That was it. So we had to come up with a business plan. That's still something that's a challenge for us today. The funding we got from Difference Makers was huge. We ended up making a music video to send to schools as well, and we got that completely donated. The police in Plymouth, Massachusetts helped us. They put us in a prison cells, hospitals. They gave us all the stuff. You can look that up. It's called Take My Keys on YouTube. And then we sent those out to schools if we aren't able to go visit the schools. And I guess what it comes down to is, I'm not going to be a financial success. This is a nonprofit organization that I didn't walk into trying to make $1 million. I'm never going to make my living off of this. What our success was going into the schools and doing the speech the way I want to do the speech, the way that I figured people might listen. And when the kids come up and shake your hand or ask you questions or tell you they're not going to end up in a situation like this, or when I'm in a situation where I come back and do Difference Makers every year, and kids from Chelmsford High or Bedford High come up and say, hey, you spoke at my school. That's the success we're going to have. It's never going to be financial. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Do you have a question for Matthew about his nonprofit?
So Matthew, you said that you can't make a living doing this, but you formed a nonprofit. So do you have sort of a business angle to it to keep the nonprofit going?
So I'm 30 now, so I'm not going to be able to continue doing these speeches. So what our future would look like is, and I've talked to some of the people from Difference Makers about this already, is partnering with the state and probation offices and other people that come out with a similar story and working with them and kind of developing them as speakers. Because you don't come out just being able to speak and tell your story. So yeah, that's what the future will be. I don't know. I've gone back and forth of being done with it or continuing it, and right now I do want to continue because I do believe in the message, but I know that I'm not going to be 50 years old telling my story to high school kids. So.
They may not listen.
They definitely not listen.
I'm telling you, when you're 50, 60, that's a little tough.
So substance abuse is a serious problem, as you know. Various kinds of substance abuse. So alcohol is just one of them. Getting that message across, as you know, is a challenge. I'd like you to connect with someone in our college, because maybe we can help partner with you. But I have a different, very deep question for you. Because you got into this because of a loss of a friend. What do you think your friend would think about what you have accomplished?
I think he'd rather be alive.
For sure.
Honest. I think he'd be happy that his messages or our stories and done. And when we were 18 years old, I could have just gone to jail, got out, and moved on. I think he'd be happy with that, but it's a hard thing to answer because I don't know. I would love to get up and say something profound like, "Oh, he'd be so proud of me, he'd be so happy," but honestly, I don't know. That's a good question.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Invisaware, the winner of 2016 Idea Challenge Innovation Technology Solutions Award, is a technology company located here in Lowell. Invisaware designs and sells smart jewelry and accessories that save people's lives. Raja Abdelaziz graduated in 2016 with a dual major in electrical engineer and computer science. And Ray Hamilton graduated in 2016 with a major in electrical engineer. They are co-founder of Invisaware. Please join me, welcome Raja and Ray.
Good evening. How's everybody doing? Good. Thank you all for coming here to support the wonderful Difference Maker program. We see so many influential people and we would love to thank you all. I would start listing people off, but I don't want to miss anyone. So thank you to everybody who's here today. My name is Raja Abdulaziz.
And my name is Ray.
And we're the founders of Invisaware. We make smart jewelry and accessories with safety technology hidden inside. There's a button. If you press the button 2 times, it immediately alerts 5 people of your choice to let them know you need help, shares your exact location, and it can also optionally contact 911. Every 90 seconds, someone in the United States is attacked. Out of the 157 million women living here today, statistics show that 1 out of every 5 of them will face a violent attack at some point in her lifetime. This is highly unacceptable and needs to change. This is also the exact reason why we created Invisaware.
So over the past 3 years, we've had really tremendous success. We've officially launched our product this past year, and we've actually been able to save 4 lives in the past year. We actually have a video we wanted to show you. Do we just click to pull it up?
Top road ahead for Janelle Valdina, who is recovering from a serious leg injury after a frightening crash 1 week ago.
And then my car hydroplaned on a patch of ice.
After spinning out, her car slammed into a guardrail on the Lowell connector as she was on her way to work.
I was kind of just praying to God to not die.
Valdina's phone was nowhere to be found, and other motorists who stopped to help could not reach 911.
So everyone's out and they have their phones and they're trying to get service. And they're like, we don't have service.
That's when this small charm literally came to the rescue. The piece of jewelry is actually a panic button, a gift given to Valdina just a week and a half before the crash.
Somehow, the Invisaware charm that my aunt got me was on the ground with me outside the car.
The Invisaware charm sends out an emergency alert to your designated contacts with your exact location, and also can help you or your contacts connect to the nearest 911 dispatcher.
I just double tapped that. I just kept pressing it, and it was my first time I ever had to use it.
Emergency crews arrived in minutes, and Janelle's father headed straight for her location.
I was just so happy that we were able to make an impact.
Raja Abdulaziz is the co-founder of Invisaware based in Lowell. The company launched just 2 years ago.
I don't really think words can describe the feeling. You're over the top that this product you poured your heart into has really helped somebody.
It's technology to help potential victims when reaching for a cell phone is not an option.
You never know. There could be an instance like me that your phone's not accessible, and that charm is. So I definitely think it's worth the investment.
That charm costs $129. There is no subscription required. It is proving popular with senior citizens, real estate agents, and unfortunately with women who are concerned about walking alone at night.
Yeah, so that was one of the stories that we had, and it was totally incredible, the response that we got. Once that story featured, we actually sold out of 4 months worth of inventory in less than 2 weeks. So that was one of the challenges that we had. We were scrambling, trying to get everything back in stock. But I'll let Raja talk more about that.
Yeah, so like Ray said, that is just one of the people we've been able to impact. We recently found out that we helped save a realtor that was attacked. She was showing a home and a client's son had anger management issues, was upset about the house going on sale. He charged at her and started attacking her. And she had one of our devices and luckily was able to use it, contacted her boyfriend. Her boyfriend used our technology to connect with 911 and they were able to get her help before the attack got even worse and a police report was filed. They gave us a huge thank you. Challenges are just scaling, getting the word out there mainly. Scaling isn't really an issue from producing the technology standpoint, but getting the word out there. Like Brian said earlier, it feels like you need an unlimited marketing budget for everybody to hear about you, but our goal is to become a household name and we're really confident that we can help save a lot more lives. So thank you so much for listening to us and for all of you households.
If the cell phone doesn't work, what service do you use to get the emergency call?
Great question. So our patented technology actually uses Bluetooth Low Energy technology to communicate with your cell phone. But what happens is during a car accident like Janelle or during an attack, your phone isn't always accessible. So when Janelle called us and told us about what happened to her, during the crash, the first thing that got tossed was her phone. She couldn't find it anywhere, she was severely injured, and she was trapped into the car. Little known, some really good bystanders stopped by and they were trying to call 911, but the call couldn't go through because there was no cell phone signal. Our patented technology uses data to send the signal to our servers, and our servers send out the alert to your loved ones. So even if you don't have cell phone signal, if you have a tiny bit of data, that alert can get sent to our server, which is always going to have signal.
So it's still cell technology because of that?
Correct, yeah.
We use this data or Wi-Fi. And this is really helpful too for a lot of like seniors that don't want to wear a big bulky panic button. Typically that type of a product only works at home, whereas this uses your phone so you have it with you on the go. So we see a lot of seniors that love the product as well.
So I have this privilege of sitting into the DifferenceMaker Idea Challenge judging, and I remember at that time people were saying, well, wait a minute, there's this device and that device. So there's the help me, I've fallen and can't get up button. So how did you move forward despite the fact that there's competitors?
Absolutely. So, like you said, there's a lot of big, ugly panic buttons out there. My grandmother is 80 years old. You know what she says about those big, ugly panic buttons? She says she would rather fall and not be able to get up than to be seen wearing one of those ugly panic buttons. It's actually really interesting because one of the things we're learning is we're actually creating a new market of people who want to protect themselves and their loved ones, and a new market of people who are not even willing to purchase those ugly devices. One of the reasons we came up with this idea was actually from personal experience. So I had a scary situation where I was walking back to my car and I was followed by a group of guys. They rolled down the window, they were yelling inappropriate comments, and the car stopped and one of them started to get out. Although I had my phone with me, there wasn't enough time to unlock it, to call somebody close by, or to call 911 even. Ray was less than a block away, and I would have been able to call him. I was extremely lucky, and I was able to run and get into my car unharmed, but millions of women, unfortunately, can't say the same thing. And that's exactly what we're trying to put an end to. After that incident, I was looking for a safety device for myself and all my loved ones, and I told Ray, you know what, if even my 80-year-old grandmother won't wear something ugly like that, why are all these companies marketing them for young women? And we've been flooded with so many things, you know, it's from consumers who are protecting themselves and saying they would have never even imagined that a device like this would exist. So it's really kind of creating a new market segment in addition to taking some business from the ugly panic buttons.
Can you share with what your sales are at?
Absolutely. We're extremely excited. We're about to hit our first $1 million in sales very soon. In addition, so much, and in addition to that, we had already raised close to $1 million to bring the product to market, and we're in the process of raising our next round of funding. Some of our investors are actually sitting in the room, and if you know any investors yourself who might be a good fit for us, please don't hesitate to send them our way. We're excited to help save more lives. Questions? Wonderful. Well, our contact information up there. Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge?
There's so many challenges. For us, it's managing the growth. We have so many different opportunities, and it's really hard to be able to fund a lot of the inventory up front. So that's sort of why we're trying to raise another round of funding, so that we'll be able, right now we're trying to switch to a different model because the press things happen so quickly for us, and they might, literally all 3 of the news stories that we were featured in, they were like, hey, can we come and do a story? We'll be there in half an hour. So we need to be always prepared for that. So we're trying to switch to a different model where we have all of our raw materials ready to go, and we'll be able to assemble everything very quickly and react a lot faster so that we can take advantage of all these different opportunities.
Yeah, like Ray's saying, it's just, right now, honestly, the biggest challenge is preparing for that extreme growth. Like Brian mentioned, sometimes growing too quickly can be a lot more challenging. So that being said, we actually are super excited. We have a really good opportunity that we're currently working on that we unfortunately cannot yet announce due to confidentiality agreements. But please do follow us. We will be announcing that next Wednesday. So if you have a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of our website, it's killing me not to say it, but it's a really big announcement that we're so excited to share with everybody.
Next presentation from Operation 250. Operation 250 is a non-profit organization that seeks to educate parents, students, and teachers about online safety, protecting themselves from encountering threatening materials, individuals online. Operation 250 was awarded with 2017 Campus-wide DifferenceMaker Award. Tyler Cody, a 2017 graduate of UMass Law in Political Science and Criminal Justice, was part of the founding member. Now works full-time for Operation 250. Please give a warm welcome to Tyler.
Everybody, first of all, thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you, the entire DifferenceMaker team. Of course, I'm a huge supporter of DifferenceMaker. Be crazy not to, with everything that they've given to us, they've supplied to us, and all the help that they've given as well. And of course, the iHub, Tom, we're working at the Innovation Hub now, and it's a great experience. So thank you, Ha. Of course, I'm Tyler Cody, Operation 250. We are a nonprofit educational organization. We work a lot with schools, so we do a lot of work with students and teachers directly, but also some work with parents as well, to really teach about issues related to online safety, online threats, online decision-making, and online behavior. The way that we go about this is we run a lot of workshops with both students and teachers, and a little bit with parents, to talk about why it is that we make poor decisions online and take risks when we're behind a computer screen. And the kind of the scope and kind of the frame that we look at this through is through this idea of hate and extremism, a very big issue facing communities, not only in Massachusetts, but worldwide and definitely nationwide here in America. So since our time with DifferenceMakers, and as Ha mentioned, we were awarded the campus-wide DifferenceMaker in 2017, that spring, we've since actually received some international recognition. being recognized by UNESCO, the United Nations, as one of the top youth-led counter-violent extremist organizations in the world. Since then, even more importantly, because we love actually doing face-to-face work, our community impact and our community footprint has really grown. In early last spring, we ended up running a conference, or I guess 2 springs ago, 2018, we ended up running a conference with about 150 community leaders just in Middlesex County, where we had teachers, we had administrators, we had police officers, social workers come in, and we were actually able to have discussions about these things that we're working on. Why is it that students are taking risks online? Why is it that racism seems to be growing and growing, or at least we're talking about it more? And while these issues are remarkably challenging to talk about, it's important that all of us as gatekeepers are actually keeping a unified message so that when students have questions about it, they're not hearing something different at school, at home, when they're with their friends and having conversations online directly. So it's important that we're actually able to work together to actually be able to come up with whatever that narrative is, and to actually so that students are able to hear the same thing no matter where they are. Since then, very excitingly, this year, we've actually, is year 1 of this grant project, which we are subject to. It exceeds over $1 million in collaboration with UMass Lowell, Georgia State University, and Harvard University, where we're not only able to just expand our program, be able to develop our workshops further, but to also measure the impact that our program is having on student behavior, where we'll be able to run student workshops directly with kids, anywhere from middle school into high school, and they'll be able to measure the impact and the difference in decision-making, behavior, and perspective-taking that students have. So, I realize I'm very close to the end of time here, but some challenges, when we entered into the field, we kind of entered into a broken field that had a massive negative stigma. Countering violent extremism is something that through the early 2000s and early 2010s, a lot of the programs that existed before us were doing a lot of profiling and marginalization of communities, and we understand that. So when we're going into communities that already don't have trust in programs that came before us that are somewhat like us, we need to be able to explain to them that we are not like those programs, and that can be a challenge. And then more logistically, working with schools have very tight budgets and remarkably tight schedules, so we need to be able to work with them and be flexible with them and actually be able to offer more options than just a 3-hour workshop for their students, so that they can have more of a, so that they're not receiving our program just because of time. So please feel free to reach out, contact information. I'll take any questions now.
Tyler, great job. It seems to me like you guys have pivoted a bit.
So,
talk about that.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So when we started as an organization, or I guess you could say when we started as an idea, we actually had originated as a part of this little idea competition with the Department of Homeland Security just before we did DifferenceMaker. And that was very focused on countering the Islamic State online. Of course, that is a tall ask, a tall order. But it didn't stop us, absolutely not. But we also understand that while we developed this idea to counter ISIS online, that also scared the community a little bit. And that would have been another challenge, and that's something that we had faced. So what we did is we pivoted. Now we're really broadened our scope a little bit. Now we're focusing on, what are some of the upstream, fairly early on decision-making that youths would be making that puts them in any sort of risk, whether it is hate groups or the Islamic State, or maybe it's something like sexual grooming, which is something that students aren't receiving enough of information and enough education on, and parents and teachers aren't ready to talk about it. So we decided to kind of broaden our scope a little bit to be a little bit more welcoming, and schools were more willing to bring us in because we talk about things that maybe they aren't ready for, but there's definitely a need for it that is accepted by parents as well.
Tyler, obviously, of late, we've seen a tremendous amount of focus on disinformation.
Right.
And like tech companies trying to define themselves as not being part of that. how do you guys fit in that? And how do you deal with their reluctance to address the reality of what they're really allowing to happen?
That's a great question, and you're right. You know, disinformation and misinformation are becoming a big issue, and of course, it feels like every time you're turning on the TV, you see Zuckerberg's face on it and talking about how they're not doing anything wrong. That wasn't a political statement by any means. But you're right. So what it is that and what our job is now is to be able to talk to those students so that they can actually correctly identify when they're seeing disinformation or misinformation. And so that they know how to ask questions about it and what to do when they're seeing it. So if they go online and they see something, for example, one thing that we've done in the past with students is there was a big, when the Lion King cast got released. So there was a meme that was getting spread all over Facebook that basically talked about how Disney was basically just completely changing the Lion King and just filling it with people of color, and which is going to completely like poison everybody's minds. Now, what our job is to work with students so that when they see something like that, they know how to ask the right questions, where to get the right answers from them, and then also for parents, how to when a student comes to them or their kid comes to them and asks them a question about that, they know how to actually have the correct discussions with them.
Sorry, another follow-up.
That's fine.
The next big challenge seems to be these, quote, deep fakes. Have you looked at it, addressed it? Your thoughts on it?
So, yeah, deepfake is, it's pretty terrifying, actually. So that's something that, full honesty, it's not something that we've looked into too far yet. There are a couple of reasons, being that we're a small organization. So being able to spread, but one thing that we do is we need to be ready to talk about that stuff. So what we'll do with deepfake specifically is we'll read up on it, and while we won't go in when we do our workshops, we won't talk specifically about deepfakes, we need to be prepared to actually have that conversation should students have questions about it. So definitely something that down the road we'll end up implementing into our lesson plans, into our activities. But at this time, we're not totally prepared to actually implement it yet. But another great question, and it certainly is an issue.
Thank you, Ty.
Is there anything in your business plan to reach beyond just the student population? Because I think the general pop probably benefit from it.
Yes, the general population, I agree with you. I do think that it would be, for sure, a lot of our work right now is being done with schools, but we're starting to expand outside of just schools. Actually, this coming January, we're running a workshop with the Girl Scouts in Eastern Massachusetts. So we're starting to spread outside of just the school population. A lot of the reason that we've been doing mostly school work to this point is because, one, every kid's at a school, and two, we're actually, because we're so educational based, a lot of our partners are teachers. So because our partners are teachers, they're able to help us with some of our lesson plans, because I don't have an education background. I'm a political science major, or formerly political science major. So they help us with some lesson plans. We work with them to make sure that what it is that we're about to carry out in the school works. But you're right, so over the next few months, we're actually going to start getting into the general population, not just schools.
I would like to introduce the first Rist Campus-wide Difference Maker Award in 2019, Benji Balls. They also is the teams that won first place in 2 of our college-based competition in the fall of 2018. The team developed a simple and fun training tool to assist children with special needs in learning the game of baseball. The team consists of Benjamin McAvoy, a junior in business, and Edward Morante, a junior in education. It is my pleasure to welcome Ben and Edward to the stage.
How you doing, everyone? My name is Benjamin. And my name is Edward, and we are Benji Ball, and similar to what Haas said, we're extremely excited to announce that we were the first recipients of the Rist campus-wide DifferenceMaker Award.
And our product is Benji Ball, which is a new and innovative way for children to play traditional baseball. This is done so it can cater towards all, no matter age or ability, which is done through our unique 10-sided patent-pendant ball and our unique one-of-a-kind bat. Now, with these, we allow for a fair outcome no matter how a child hits the ball, because some of them might be disabled in some way. And we field tested our bat at our local Miracle League, and we found through anyone who's tested it that it allows for children to hit the ball much straighter than they would with a traditional baseball bat, because the edges are not as rounded.
And then for some progress and success updates for where we're at, as stated before with what Holly said, we were fortunate enough, with what Haas said, we were fortunate enough to win the engineering prototyping competition this past December, as well as the Creative Ventures competition for Fine Arts, Humanities, and Social Science school, as well as the Rist campus-wide DifferenceMaker Award. So we've been fortunate enough to win a lot of funding to go towards the next steps of producing Benji Ball and getting it out into schools and backyards all around the United States. We're also proud to say that we launched our website. The product isn't officially launched on there yet. It's more of a visual website, so you can go on there, find out about the story behind it, check on updates of some news articles we've been featured in, as well as we post a weekly blog. And as well as the website and the social media pages, we are able to post on there and interact with everyone. And the blogs has been something that we have noticed is huge, because we've been able to promote everything that we've been doing. Similar going into the events and speaking engagements that we've been invited to speak at. So Invisaware actually was recognized as one of the top companies to work for in Massachusetts. So we were invited to be alongside them at their table this past summer in Boston. And then Edward and I were also invited to speak to a local elementary school that focuses a lot on entrepreneurship. So we went there and told our story and gave some tips about how we came from an idea all the way up into a drawing and then into a patent pending product that we have currently nowadays. Some interesting customers, as Edward mentioned, our Miracle League, and then local schools and after-school programs and summer programs around Massachusetts that we've been speaking with. Some challenges that we've faced have been manufacturing, which is something that we're currently in the process of figuring out, and it's been going extremely well as of late. And also just determining the size of the bat and ball initially. What we did was we listened to the customers, as Edward said, speaking to the Miracle League and finding out what works best for them. So now in the process, figuring out the manufacturing for the bat ball as well as the packaging to make it something visible in all stores around the United States. Thank you.
Didn't I just see something on social media with the word Forbes in it?
Yeah, so I was actually announced as one of the Forbes under 30 scholars to attend Detroit, to attend the event in Detroit that's upcoming last weekend.
Over the summer, we talked about your manufacturing, so I'd love an update on where you guys are with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually a couple of weeks ago, we attended a trade show for manufacturers where we were fortunate enough to, we went in with 3 manufacturers that we noticed that we wanted to speak with. We actually found about 8 that we ended up speaking with and have worked out with. And about 2 weeks ago, I actually went to Attleboro and spoke with one of the local manufacturers that is in the process of helping us figure out the quoting for the bat ball and the packaging all at their facilities. So initially, we were noticing that we were most likely going to have to do the bat and ball in one location, ball in another location, and then the packaging we would most likely fulfill. So that's something exciting that is an update now that we have to be able to announce that hopefully we can negotiate a deal with them to then get it all done in-house in the United States as well.
Last question for the team.
Is there any reluctance from anybody trying to relate to this game? Because it looked like a real baseball, real bat.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was some concerns initially based off the size and shape of the bat as well. Just what we noticed initially was everyone was like, oh, it's a cricket bat. Why are you advertising it as a baseball game? But what the initial design behind it was we took aspects of both a cricket and a baseball bat to create for more of a fair play for the children playing it. So after describing to them that without the rounded edges of a traditional baseball bat, that limits the amount of foul balls that a person would hit, because a foul ball is caused because it skims off the top or bottom of the bat, whereas ours with a flat surface, it pretty much eliminates all the foul balls. So initially there was some drawback against what we were promoting towards the Miracle League especially. That was the most helpful thing for us, because we went in there, we told them everything about what it was, but they were questioning everything that we said. Not in a negative way, it was just in a way that to see if we would be able to answer their questions and actually show that how it would help their program. So after describing it, we've noticed that adjusting the shape and also the edges. Initially our bat had more of a blocky transition, so we noticed that that made the bat more top heavy, so we adjusted it to make it more smooth, to make it a little bit more even to cater towards all those children.
So all your bat and balls are only plastic, or are you considering?
Yeah, so the ball, what it would be made out of is like a polyurethane, rubber, natural rubber style material, so similar to a Nerf ball. So it can be played indoors in gym classes, so you don't have to worry about risk of like a window getting broken. This is more of a visual prototype, and the bat will also be a blow molded plastic, similar to like a wiffle ball weight, obviously just a little bit heavier because it is a little bit larger. Thank you.
Thank you very much.